Before the install video, I wanted to show you what my machine looks like after a full ride at Majestic Trails on a muddy day. Almost no mud on the body of my machine with the fender flares. And we're going to walk over to a black machine that almost looks like it's the sand color of my machine. Actually, it looks like it's the same color of my machine, and it's covered with mud.
May I grab just a quick video?
This is why you
machine?
install fender flares.
I was gonna ask, how do you like the glass windshield?
You know, I'll tell you in a minute. This is black. Dave, this is black.
It was black. Yeah, right.
This is black. Yeah, it looks really nice. So,
Marauders, welcome back to the channel. This video, we're going to install fender flares on the RZR Pro XP. The side-by-side gets covered in mud, but really in this machine, the cockpit gets filled with mud. Handfuls of mud out of the seat, the dashboard, everything. So, previous video, I installed the windshield, which should help significantly. Give you a look at the stock fender flares. You can see the tires sticking out beyond the machine. And to explain, a lot of times the mud getting in the cab is coming up and around the tire and getting spit in through the back windshield. I have a windshield or also the same thing. It spins up from this tire, spins up in the air, and you drive through it and it ends up into the cab. This is how the fender flares will look. They're not fastened yet, but you can see the coverage of that tire pattern, tire width I should say. The fender flare coverage really covers it. Comes maybe halfway in front of the tire, big wide flare. I have yet to have my door pieces that will fill this cavity in, but the rear fender flare should really help, and there's a piece that goes on the bottom. And also the rear fender flare covers up the gills and also widens the fender out at the top to keep that mud. Hopefully it will hit here and not roll up and curl into the back of the cab. But man, these gills are brutal. Brutal for collecting mud. Oh my God, what it takes to wash this machine out. So this will seal up the two forward gills on the rear fender and hopefully reduce mud getting into the back of the cockpit area. Different look. I like the stock look. I really do like the stock look, but man, the fender flares on this machine just made it. So I love, this looks like a safari vehicle with the fender flares on it. And I'm hoping I can get used to the RZR Pro with the flares. Let's get to work. It's interesting, this one isn't molded quite as nice as the one on the other side. Hopefully I won't have fitting issues. So we're going to use our 40 Torx drivers, take them off on the back. Plastic rivet in this location, and then from here on in it's pretty quick. It does not fit as well. Okay, let's see how she is in the front. Great fit in the front. Very nice fit here all around, very tight. Okay, so let's put these, let's suck in the front. Very tight fit up front. This push pin goes in, which is pretty well aligned actually. That's in great. The inside is done. Let's flip around. Very careful not to over drill these holes. And that wasn't very good. Terrible. So much for not over penetrating, right? That sounds like a dirty joke. And then the rest of these are tight. After I do that, they're tight. So let's try doing this again. And I think the fear is that when you do these, you're going to come up through a body panel, especially in the back. I'm going to drill here and work my way out. And last but not least, the front mud flap. I have to tell you, I think this is not going to last long. It's maybe 11 inches above the ground. I think when I get in the mud, this thing's going to end up being ripped off. I think I have to replace this with a piece of rubber. I think it will be fine for the ride coming this weekend. But after that, and you know, I'm going to bring a tool actually to remove it if I think it's going to be a problem. So, the fronts are done. I think it looks great. Let's move on to the back.
So, as I previously mentioned, I could not leave that rigid mud flap on that fender flare. It was just too rigid. When I get in the ruts with the machine, it would have cracked or pulled the plastic rivets out of the machine. So I did rebuild that flap out of a truck mud flap, and I made it about 1.5 inches shorter, and it seems to be working fine. It flexes enough, yet it's rigid enough to keep the mud off the machine. So after I installed it, I did remove it and replace it. Hope you enjoy the video. Thank you.
So let's take a look at this. All these holes, 3 here, 6 on the top, and then 6 on the back of the inside have to be drilled. These 3 holes are already, in the existing fender flare. So we're going to hook it. Again, it's got this lip, which is really nice alignment lip, to lock the fender in. The 3 holes I tell you to start with, these holes are already there. That's locked in. Then they want you to drill these holes, which I'm going to start at the bottom, and I don't like that gap, but you can see I have to pull this in. And the fuel tank's there. Now I do think I have the room. So that's up tight against the plastic. No fuel's coming out. I'm going to put this rivet in. Okay, that's locked in. And now those are tight. Okay, a lot of drilling. So that's in. Now they want you to drill on the top and put the pins on the top. So let's work our way along the top. And this is a pretty tight fit up here. Back flares out, but the front is tight. So I'm going to start in the front. And again, I'm going to stitch my way up with the rivets. Really nice. Really nice. Okay. Man, Polaris, great job. Great job. Okay, let's go down. Start here. So these were the first 3 rivets that I put in. They were pre-drilled. Those were alignment rivets. Then I did these 3 over here, the 6 on the top, and then 3 more on the bottom. And that fender flare is very well secured. Marauders, welcome back to the channel. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you're not already subscribed, liking this video and sharing it with a friend, maybe someone that has a RZR Pro. Installation went great. Again, hats off to Polaris. Accessories have been very good on this machine, the engineering of them and the mounting. I know there is a lot of money to be made by the manufacturers through these accessories on side-by-sides and all our off-road equipment. And that's okay. It's frustrating when they're not designed or engineered well. And these fender flares, along with all of the accessories on this machine, were very well engineered and high quality. Hats off to Polaris. Thank you. Take you a quick walk around. Give you a look from the back. If you ride motorsports, please wear a helmet for your protection and set an example for others. I almost forgot something, guys. 120. I'd say that's very good. Please comment. This week I'm hoping to break 80 pounds that I've lost. I'm working out every day. One day on the elliptical, the next day on barbells. If you ride motorsports, please wear a helmet for your protection and set an example for others. Please also get out and ride the outdoors, work the outdoors, be active in your house, whether it's in a basement on a project or in your garage. You'll feel much better, and it helped me to start losing weight 80 pounds ago. I hope to see you on the trail. Thank you and God bless. One comment I have to tell you, these flares, I'm hoping they're excellent when it comes to controlling mud and water getting in the cab. The negative with these fender flares is if you're on a tight trail and if you hit a tree, you could end up damaging an expensive fender flare and accessory plus the fender flare that's already on the machine and cracking body parts. So I do have to be careful. And you know from that dent in the rock slider, sometimes things happen. So that's a negative with the fender flares. Give you a quick walk around.